Ever heard a man scream with no lungs? A sick man kidnapped me. He seemed remorseful after the fact, speaking about some alien entity threatening to destroy the whole world unless he sacrifices me to this entity. A thing he called Unketsas. Since his actual name isn't particularly relevant, I'll refer to him as John. See, John had a very disorganized speech and an impossible train of thought. Surely, he was delusional. Clearly ill, as I said. I let myself be taken hostage because I have time and very little to do with my time. With that in mind, I played along with the poor man. John, for all of his faults, worked hard to delay what he thought was inevitable. Unfortunately, Unketsas won out, and I had to be sacrificed. Needless to say, it didn't work out as intended. Not for a lack of trying. No, John tried to sacrifice me. Technically, he succeeded. Technically. It didn't work out because I am immortal. I cannot permanently die, not as far as I know. Trust me, I've tried. Others have tried to kill me too. Nothing seems to work so far. Temporarily, I can die, but eventually my body fixes itself. There are drawbacks to that. I'm not immune to the pains of dying. And John, well, John made it a very long night. I was partially flayed, with a hot iron, force-fed my own burnt skin, then disemboweled and hanged from my own intestine. After that, the mad bastard tore open my back, shattered my ribcage, and draped the lungs over the exposed bone. I felt all of that, every single moment. Adrenaline shots worked like magic to keep me awake and prolong my suffering. There are no words to describe the agony John put me through. Bless his heart, he kept apologizing and weeping throughout. Imagine a man screaming with no lungs. That's what it was like. Eventually, it stopped and I died. Imagine John's shock when he found me walking out of his basement unscathed. He looked and screamed like he'd seen a ghost. I could have laughed if he didn't stab me through the arm and a lung in that moment. Pinning him to the wall was surprisingly easy before I spun him a tale. Playing into his delusions, I told him that I, too, was a devotee of Unketsas and that the whole ordeal was just a test to see whether he was worthy of an awakening. Being the sick man he was, he believed every word. I explained that I was immortal thanks to our God. In reality, it's been so long that I don't know if I was born this way or became like this. What I do know is that if someone eats my flesh or drinks my blood, they gain some superhuman ability. I mentioned how I've been killed many times before, in part to be consumed. What happens every time, though, is that whoever partakes in my consumption ends up with an ability that inadvertently kills them. Every single time. So, I told John that drinking my blood would make him an immortal, too. It's hard for me to say I was angry with him. One effect of a long life is detachment. I couldn't care less what happened to this insignificant creature, but a terrible night was worth teaching a lesson over. So, I convinced John that he wanted this immortality I was promising him, and once he agreed, I pulled out the knife from my body. I shoved my wounded arm straight into his mouth, making sure he got a good taste of my blood. I kept it there until he started gagging and regurgitating and wouldn't stop, even then. Only relenting when the collapsed lung in my chest finally knocked me out, and we both fell to the ground. I came to my senses only hours later, to the sound of a weeping man. The room was coated in patches and handprints of gold. Almost everything around me shone with an auric radiance. The walls, the floor, the furniture. Everything had a tinge of that precious metal coating it. At its center, facing me, sat John, half covered in gold himself, rocking back and forth. The metal seemed to slowly spread over his body as his movements became stiffer and stiffer with each passing moment. He was muttering and crying to himself. His own Midas touch was slowly killing him. Quicker than I even anticipated, by the time I picked myself up, he could barely beg for help. A dreadful look of fear in his desperate gaze penetrated straight through me. It's been a while since something sent shivers down my spine, but in this state, this sick man definitely did. He barely managed to lift one gold-plated arm in my direction when he saw me get up, and his cries for help slowly morphed into something far worse and far less human. Breathless, suffocated, almost crushed. A hiss. A death rattle escaping from a crack in a metallic statue when the wind blows through it. That was the sound of a man screaming with no lungs. His death was slower than it seemed. Even after falling silent, he must have had some time before the gold statue encasing his organs fully hardened, collapsing his lungs and heart in place. The worst part of it all is that even after the gold covered his body complete,